So what we are going to do, we are going to start with some of the common or some of the popular approaches which we have in array to help us to solve the problems like two pointer approach or sliding window approach or saving some information. Okay. Here, I'm not going to talk much about the complexities because complexity is a topic which needs a complete go through discussion in itself. But I hope everybody heard the name of the complexity. What is a running time complexity and a space complexity? Okay, so that is we are going to start with. Okay, so in this starting, I'm going to give a brief overview what an array is, and then we will start with some of the popular problems in the array. Okay, and guys, one thing, while discussing the things or while explaining the things, if you have any doubt, please raise your hand. Okay, so that I will be able to go through each and every doubt one by one. Okay, will that work? And to agree with me, you can have a thumbs up emoji in the. Now let's start with what an array is. So what happens is, from where the array got introduced is, in every programming language we have something called as variables. Okay, we have something called variables. What happens is, with variable is nothing but a name given to a location, memory location. So let's say hypothetically our memory location look like this. Okay, so memory location is nothing but a address space. Okay, so everything here is having the address, like the address of a home or a house or a flat number like that. Okay, now what happens is this address is in the hexadecimal format. So it could be something weird like A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, something. So using that particular name is not very feasible. Okay, is not very feasible to use that. So what happens? Variables are used. Variable is just a name. So this, instead of using ABC123, a variable name X is given. Now what happens is, then this X is given some properties or some characteristics. Some characteristics which are defined by data type. Data type, the primitive data type which we know already about is int, float, double. Okay, int, float, double. You have character. Okay, like that. Other languages can have another primitive data type. This data type define the characteristics of a variable. Characteristics means what could be the size of address uh, space it can use. Like it can have 8 byte or 16 byte, float can have 16 byte, 32 byte, 1 byte, like that. What happens is, another characteristic which it defines is how big a number it can store within itself. Okay, so there is a range of value which it can store. Okay, this is a little about the so data type define this characteristic for a variable in which you are going to store a value. Now what happens is, you try to write a code. When you try to write a code, suppose there is a requirement where you have to store 10 variables. Okay, 10 integers where you have to store 10 integers you have to store. This is a requirement. So what you did, you go and create the 10 variables for this. Okay, 10 variables like x1, x2, x3, like 10. But what happens is, this requirement becomes 100. Sometime later, you are again going to write a program, then this requirement becomes 100. Again, you take the 100 variable. Okay, this is also feasible, but at some time of point, this become 1000. Then it will be very difficult to take the 1000 variables like x1, x2 till x100. So to rescue us from this situation, the concept of array came into picture. Array is nothing but a name given to contiguous memory location. Okay, so instead of creating 1000 variable, we can create a array of size 1000. Okay. So array of size 1000, what it defines is you instead of using the array, instead of using the 1000 variables, we can have a single type defined called array of size 1000. Okay. Guys, is my voice clear? Abhishek, Akshay, Anas, Avinash, Jyoti. Cool. So I think Prem, there is some audio issues at your end. Okay, just check once. Because for most of the people, the audio is clear. Almost for all the people. So what happens when we say, first let's try to understand what does we mean by contiguous memory location. Okay. So contiguous memory location is like, in this itself, it's like a whole row of memory address, which are adjacent to each other, which are next to each other. Okay. So that is called as contiguous memory location. When we define array like this, okay, when we define array like this, internally, how they are treated as an individual variable like this. So this is the whole memory, contiguous memory location, memory locations it took. Okay. Guys, the recording is already happened. That will be shared after the webinar. Okay. So you don't have to worry about recording externally. Okay. Now, uh, I will come back to all the doubts later. Yeah. So how it will be defined? So these are this a part of a memory. So this is the first. All the indexing in the array happens from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, like that, and go on. How much you have defined for. Now, this is hypothetical indexing happen, but let's suppose address is like this 123, then it becomes 124, 125. So they are all adjacent to each other. Okay. Now, because of this property, contiguous memory locations, array gives an advantage of direct addressing. Let's understand what is direct addressing. And guys, this is very, very important to understand what is direct addressing, because whenever you are going to use array as a data structure, okay, wherever you are going to store array as a data structure, then you need to understand direct addressing gives an advantage that helps array to be used as a basic data structure. For example, priority queue, okay, or a heap. Heap is visualized as a tree, but internally when you try to store the heap, it is stored as a array only. Okay, the direct addressing means is you can go to any element within the array directly. You don't have to go one by one to that element. Suppose I want to go to the fourth element. Okay. I want to go to the fourth element. So I just write A of 4, ARR of 4. So I can directly from the initial base address, I can directly jump to the fourth element. Okay. This is, I can directly jump to the fourth element. So how it is done? There is an internal calculation happen. There is an internal calculation happen. So every time when you declare initialize an array, just a minute. Guys. So there's an internal calculation happen. So there is something called as base address. Base address plus size of data type. So every array is of a single data type. Okay. It could be an int, it could be a character. Okay. It could be like that into whatever the position you want to reach to, like 4. Okay, so always whenever you initialize the array, the base address of array is with us. For example, 123. This is a hypothetical address, not the exact address. So what it helps us to, we don't have to go through the element like first we have to go to 1, 2, 3. We can directly go to the fourth element. So this is what we call as a direct address. Direct addressing is only possible because we know that array always initialize or get the contiguous memory with them. Okay, so this is the main advantage of using the array. Okay, similarly, we have the advantage of using the array. Similarly, we have the disadvantage of using the array also. What is the disadvantage of using the array? It is always need to be of fixed size. Means in the beginning itself, you need to give the size of the array, like 100,000. Even if you are not using that much, but still you need to give some fixed size. So what happens is sometimes you underutilize the array, or sometimes you need to more sized array. You need some more sized array. Okay. In that case, you need to resize the array. So because of this fixed size, the scalability or scale problem happens with the array. Okay. So this is a very brief overview about the array. So simply how we define an array, and I'm just writing a simple pseudocode. So we can have a int AR new. Guys, are we clear so far? Do you have anyone is having any doubt? They can raise their hand. In the participant window, you can, I guess, you can raise your hand, or somewhere you can raise your hand. Okay. If any doubts you have. Right. So size, that's 100. Okay. Now this is how you define an initializer. Now, what happens if I have to go through all the elements which are stored in the array? I can simply take a loop. I less than length of the array. Already, let's say length of the array is n. And then if I'm using Java, I can do system.out.println, and I can directly write k of I. If I'm using C, I can use printf decimal d and a of I. Okay, this is simply how to print the array. Decimal array. If we talk in terms of the interview, array is very important topic and is very broad topic, because array contains your searching, normal array problems, searching problems, sorting problems. Then array also contains dynamic programming problems, okay, backtracking problems. So they are very, array itself is a very broad topic. What happens in the interview? If you are going to give the interview any FANG companies like Microsoft, Netflix doesn't interview in India, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Walmart, you can expect at least 3 to 4 problems on the array itself. Okay, so generally in these companies, you are going to have a 4 rounds of interview. Two system design, two of data structures and algorithm. One is of system design, and the last one is of the hiring manager. In few other companies, you can have for screening test also, like Amazon. So that will be the 5 round of interview. But 4 will be the personal interview, face-to-face interview, or virtual interview. So you can easily expect 3 to 4 problems on the array itself. Cool. Okay. Are we good so far? So now let's move to a problem. Okay. How we are going to do the problems are, in the problem, I'm going to write a problem statement. Okay. You have to understand the problem statement. I'm going to clarify the problem statement. If you have any doubt, you can ask me that this is my doubt. You can think about the solution of it. Okay, you don't need to speak it out. You can directly message me that this is what you are thinking of. Okay, and then we will see what in what will be the better way to solve the problem. Okay, any working approach you can think of, whatever coming to your mind, that is completely fine, whatever. So we are going to start with a very simple problem. Okay, very simple problem to warm up ourselves, and then we will, with every problem we are going to increase the hardness of the problem. Okay, can we go ahead? Justin, Jyoti, Vishakha, Vrinda, Anas. Cool. So let's start the first one. Okay, this problem is called as data element on the right hand side. So the problem statement states that given an array, replace each element by the greater element on the right hand side. Cool. So suppose if the input is like this, the input is like this. So you have 6, 7, 5, 3, 4, 1. That's it. So this is so for this one. The proper speed within the okay. Now suppose yeah. Now you can see that for 2 there is no greater element on the right hand side. When I say the greater element on the right hand side, you don't have to include the current element. Okay, you don't have to include the current element. So I will write that also to be more specific, not including current element. Okay. So for 2 it should be -1. Okay. So for 4, what is the element on the right hand side? 2 is the element on the right hand side. So array generally have two sides, right hand side and left hand side. So suppose this is an array. Okay. So this is called as right hand side and this is called as left hand side at any index. So I is nothing but a index in the array. Okay. So for 4, yeah. So 2 is the only element. So the greater element for 4 is 2. Now if you look for 3, for 3 the elements on the right hand side are 4 and 2. Okay, so among 4 and 2, which one is the greater one? 4. Okay. Now, for 5, the greater element on the elements on the right hand sides are 3, 4, and 2. So among 3, 4, and 2, the greatest one is again 4 only. Similarly, for 7, the elements on the right hand side are 5, 4, 3, 2. So the greatest element among them is 5. Then for 6, the elements on the right hand side are 7, 5, 3, 4, 2. So the greater element is 7. So given an array, you have to replace every element by the greatest element on the right hand side. Okay. So this is the problem statement. Now, how we are going to solve it? First, try to understand the problem. Okay. If you have any doubt, ask me. Okay. If you are making any assumption, please let me know. Then think about how you can solve this problem. Okay. Any working approach is completely fine. You can DM me your approach. Okay. Vishal is having doubt. Why taking -1? Because 2 doesn't have any element on the right hand side. There is no element on the right hand side. And that's why we are taking -1 to say that there is no maximum element on the right hand side of 2. Is it clear, Vishal? Guys, is the problem statement clear? Let me take one more. This is another input. And guys, don't be in a hurry. Okay. I will give you one tip. Guys, whoever is having doubt in this problem, please raise your hand so that I can go to the doubt one by one. Okay. Uh, just, yeah, Vrinda, what is your doubt? Mm, your voice is breaking for me. You can put your doubt in the chat window. Avinash, what is your doubt? Avinash, what is your doubt? Okay. So the problem statement is you have given a array, okay, like this. You have to replace each element by the greater element on the right hand side. So whatever the element you have on the right hand side for a current element, among them you have to find out the maximum element and then you have to replace the current element by the maximum element. For example, let's suppose for 5. Okay, let's suppose for 5, what are the elements on the right hand side? 3, 4, and 2. So who is the maximum element among these 3, 4, and 2? Is 4. Okay. So what you have to do, you have to replace 5 by 4. Okay, like that. So you have to do the same thing for every element. So for example, for 7, what are the elements on the right hand side? 5, 4, 5, 3, 4, and 2. So among 5, 3, 4, and 2, what is the maximum element? 5 is the maximum element. So you have to replace the 7 by 5. Okay. This is what you have to do with every element. Is it clear now, Avinash? Okay, cool. Any other person who is having doubt? Now, so what you have to do is, okay, I want to give some tips around this. Okay. First tip is whenever a problem introduced to you, always take time before discussing your approach to the interviewer. Always take time. Don't directly jump or try to give the solution. Before giving the solution, think whether your approach is going to work for all the types of input or there is some issue. Okay. Also, think in the array also, one thing is always think that whether the relative ordering of element is matter or not. Relative ordering means this is the given ordering of element like 6, 7, 5, 3, 4, 2. If you change this ordering, whether the answer is going to be the same or not. Okay. So always check for the relative ordering, whether it matters or it doesn't matter. Always take time before giving your approach to the interviewer. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a rush. Okay, take your time. Make sure that your approach is working before you start discussing. Whenever the interviewer gives some hint, please take it. Okay, please look into that direction. Okay, don't be rigid about your direction only. Okay, whenever interviewer give any direction, look into that. Cool. So we will take like 10 minutes about thinking of this for the solution of this. Okay, you can send me your approach in the chat. Okay, why is there -1? because you don't have any element on the right hand side of 2. Okay, so that's why we have used -1. Okay, -1 represents that there is no element on the right hand side of. So for all the solution, the last element will always be replaced by -1. Now the second doubt is, why for 4, why we have written 2? Because for 4 the elements on the right hand side is only 2. What is the element on the right hand side of 4? It's 2 only. Okay, so that's why among 2 the maximum element is 2 only. I have written one statement, not including current element. So okay, so your question is why we use 5 5. Okay, so if you look closely, for 4, what are the elements on the right hand side? 5, 3 and 1. Which is greater? 5. For 2, what are the elements on the right hand side? 4, 5, 3 and 1. Which is greater? 5. For this 6, what are the elements on the right hand side? 2, 4, 5, 3 and 1. Which is the greater element? 5 is the greater element. Okay, that's why we have 5 5 5 here. Okay, let's see how we can solve this problem. Okay, so just let me erase out the other stuff. So what we have to do, we have to replace the element, the greatest element on the right hand side. So simply, very straightforward, one thing which can come up is, we have 6, 7, 5, 3, 4 and 2. Okay, so this is the index 0, index 1, index 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so simple solution is, for every index, find the maximum, find maximum in remaining indexes. Okay, find the maximum in remaining indexes. So for I equals to 0, which is 6, find the maximum in remaining indexes. From 1 to 5, you will find the maximum. So you will get 7 is the maximum. Now your I will move from here to here. Now you will be finding the maximum element between 2 to 5. Okay, that will be 5. Like that. This is one approach. Okay, so in this approach, for I equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, what we are doing? Finding the max. Okay, from I plus 1 to n. Every time we need to find the maximum. And how we will find the maximum element? We will simply loop through the array, take a variable, and compare it with each variable until we find the maximum element. So finding the maximum element is like this. Find max element int k or int j. J will be the starting. Okay, int n will be the size till the end. Okay. So let's say return type is int. So what we will do, we will take a variable temp. So temp I will initialize with a of j. So here we should have array also. Now if temp, now what we will do, we will loop through the array. So for int I equals to 0. No, for int I equals to j, I less than n, I plus plus. Okay, if temp is greater than a of j, then temp equals to A of j. Okay, and in the end we will return 10. Good. This is okay. We will return 10 temp here. So every time we will get the find max will always give us a integer which will be the maximum element from the next index till the end. Okay. So I equals to 0 means for 6, for I equals to 0 means for 6 element, all the other indexes from 1 till 5, we will finding the maximum element. So this is nothing but the code for finding the maximum element. Okay. Now, what we will be doing here? So in this loop, we will be just A of I will be equals to find max in the array from I plus 1 till n and passing the array. Okay, this is how we will be replacing all the array. This is just a pseudocode I have written. Okay, is this approach clear? What we are doing? Akshat, Akshay, Anas, Justin, Divya. Anyone is having any doubt here? What we are doing in this approach? So in simple language, what we are doing for every element, we are trying to find the maximum element in the remaining element on the right hand side. Okay. The thing is, I don't want to find the maximum element every time. Okay. Now, what the thing is, I don't want to find the maximum every time. So one approach or one direction in array is we try to store the already known information with us and use them, or better to say, use the already known information. This is a, you can say, tip, trick, or whatever you want to say. Use already known information to avoid recalculation. To avoid recalculation. Okay. So what happened here is, what we are doing, we are recalculating the maximum every time. Okay. So the recalculation is of finding the maximum every time. I don't want to do that. Okay. So if I don't want to do that, what should I do? Let's see. We will be using the already calculated information in a manner. Okay. So focus here. How I'm going to do it is, let's suppose where is the array? I'm creating the array again. 6, 7, 5, 3, 4, and 2. Okay. Guys, listen to me very carefully how I'm going to use the already known information. Now, what I'm going to do is, instead of going from 0 to n, I am going to proceed from n to 0. Okay. Means from the last of the array, I'm going to start calculating the things. Here, for 2, I already know that the maximum is -1. Okay. Now, before going here, my approach is, for any element I, if the max I plus 1 is here, and the maximum element of I plus 1 is this. Okay. This maximum element has replaced this I plus 1. This maximum of I plus 1 you have calculated from the elements in this manner. Okay. Means this maximum of I plus 1 is nothing but the maximum of this much elements. Maximum of this much elements. Okay. The only thing is, for I, you want to calculate the maximum, you have not just compared this two, otherwise you have everything in here. If you just compare this two, it will tell you what is the maximum element among all these elements, because you already know the maximum element in this. You just need to compare with the I plus 1. Okay, if you compare it with the I plus 1, then you will have the maximum element here for I. So in simple language, if I write it, maximum element I is nothing but maximum of I plus 1 comma maximum of I plus 2. That's it. You don't have to calculate maximum again and again because you already know that this maximum is nothing but the maximum among all these numbers. Okay, this is defined. So how we can imply the same thing here in our logic? So for example, look at this. Just a minute, let me increase the font. So if you look at 5, okay, better to look at 3. If you look at 3, suppose this 4 is not calculated, but you have calculated till here. This for this 4, when you replace this 4 with 2, it indicates that what is the maximum? 2 is the maximum element among all the element on the right hand side of 4. Okay, so for 3, you have not just compared these two elements. If you compare these two elements, it means that you will be finding the maximum elements among all the other elements. Okay, so that is. So what we are doing, this is the already stored information. Which one? This 2 is already in stored information. This max is already stored information which we are using. Okay, so it helps us to avoid recalculating the things. Okay, so let's see how it is going to work in our case. Let's complete this solution. Now, here for 4, I have to calculate. I already have this information that 2 is replaced by 1, minus 1. And minus 1 is represented the maximum element here till here. I just compare 2 and minus 1, which is come bigger 2. So I will replace 4 with 2. Before replacing 4 with 2, I kept 4 in a temporary variable. Okay. Now, 4 is replaced by 2. What happens with 3? For 3, I already know that the next element is replaced by 2, and 2 is nothing but the maximum element after the next element. Okay. For 3, the next element is 4. After 4, whatever the elements are present, among them 2 is the maximum element. Now, I just need to compare this 4 with 2. Who is the maximum? 4 is the maximum. Okay. Now, I'm coming to 5. Okay. Now, this temp will hold 3 because before replacing 3, and because 3 is going to be used in the next iteration, that's why I am keeping into a temp because it is replaced by 4. Now for 5, I know that for 5, this 4 is nothing but the maximum element among all the elements after the next element. For 5, the next element is 3. After 3, whatever the elements are there, 4, 2, whatever, the maximum is 4. It just not compare with the 3. So I compare 4 and 3, it will be replaced by 4. Okay. So the now temp is containing 5. For 7, I will be comparing 5 and 4. For 6, I will be comparing 7 and 5. So it will be like this. Cool. So this is we called as using the already known information to avoiding the recalculation. Okay. So you can see that I don't have to go through each and every element to find the maximum again and again. I already use the known information. For me, the known information is this max I plus 1. Whatever the maximum element after I plus 1. Okay. This is how we can calculate. Guys, if you have any doubts, please raise your hand. Guys, if you have any doubt, please raise your hand. If it is clear to you, I want you to apply the same logic over the second input. This is the second input. I will be putting. I will be explaining again. So what I will do is, Divya, just a minute. Uh, so Divya, whatever your approach was, it's correct, but it is the first approach which I just explained, that for every index you will be finding the maximum element among the rest of the elements. Okay, so uh, it is the same thing. Okay, as the first approach only. That is correct. That will be working. Okay, but the thing is, will be looking. We will be trying to avoid the additional calculations so that our complexity will be better. Here again. So what we are trying to do, to get the maximum element for the current index, we will be comparing the next element and the next maximum so far. Okay. So let me use an erase. Okay. 2 we already know is the last element, so it should be replaced by -1. So you are replacing the current element. So you need to have the current element into some variable. For 4, we already know that the next element is replaced by this maximum element. Okay. This maximum element is among all the elements after the next element. Maximum among all elements after next element. Okay. So for 4, next element is this 2. And maximum among all the elements after 2 are these elements. Okay. Right now they are not. Cool. So we just need to compare 2 and whatever the maximum element it replaced by. So 2 and -1, which is greater? 2 is greater. So it will be replaced by 2. Now we will come to 3. For 3, we will apply the same logic. For 3, we will apply the same logic. What is the logic? 2 is nothing but the maximum of all the elements after the 4. Okay. After the 4. So 4 is the next element. 2 is the maximum element for all the elements after 4. So what you have to do now, you have to compare 4 and 2. When you compare 4 and 2, the 4 will be the maximum. Okay. So if you look at 4, 4 is nothing but the maximum among this elements. Okay. Now you come to 5. Okay. Now you come to 5. When you come to 5, you know that 4 is the maximum element after 3. It is just not compared with 3. So you compare 5 and 3, 4 and 3, so it will be 4. Okay. So 4 will be the maximum element after 5. Now, so what you will do, you will move to the next element, which is 7. Okay. So 7 again, same thing. 4 is what? The maximum element after 5. Maximum element after 5. It is not just compared with the 5. So what you will do, you will compare it with 5. So this will be replaced by 5. The same thing applies. 7 and 5 you will compare, it will be 7. Okay. So this is how we are approaching this. Is it clear? Anyone is having doubt here? Okay, let's try to write a code for this. Okay, so suppose I'm trying to write a code in Java. Okay, and if you want me to write a code in another language, that is also fine. Okay, and so because Java is being used by majority of the people. So let's say my function name is replace. I am taking int is an array. Now I have int and is equals to a dot length. Length is a built-in function which will give you the length of the. So I will taking a temp and I'm taking the last element already in it. Okay, last because we will be processing from last. Now last element I will be replacing by -1 because we know that after last element there will not be any element. Now I will be looping int I equals to n minus 2. We have to start with n minus 2. Then comma I should be greater than equals to 0, I minus 1. Okay. This is it. Now I am taking a variable called current, which will be holding the element before it get replaced. Okay. Now I will be replacing the element, current element. So to replace the current element, first we check, we need to compare the next element with its maximum element. So the next element is already your a of I plus 1 because it is replaced. Temp will be holding the original element before it got replaced. So a of I, if it is greater than a of I, then a of I will be equals to a of I plus 1. Okay. Else a of I is equals to temp. Okay. Like this. Now after doing this, we will just update the temp with the current. Okay. This is how we will replace all the elements in an array. Now guys, one more thing I want to discuss with you. Another tip is whenever you write a piece of code, okay, whenever you write a piece of code, always have the capability of debugging it. Because what happens in the interview is whenever you go for an interview, they will ask you to write the code on some shared document in which you don't have the compilation capability. When you are not able to have the compiler capability, then you won't able to find out what is the error in your code. And they will be asking you to write the production level code. Means you shouldn't have any logical error or a syntactical error. Syntactical is also fine because nobody able to remember the exact syntax, but there should not be any logical error. All the input should be working. Okay, so line by line execution is very important for a code to see. So what is the line by line execution is? Suppose our input is this 6, 7, 5, 3, 4, and 2. Okay. So what are the indexes? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's say line by line, n is equals to a dot length. So a will be equals to n will be equals to 6. Temp will be equals to a of n minus 1. So temp will be equals to 2. A of n minus 1 equals to -1. So 2 will be replaced by -1. So next is your for I equals to n minus 2, you will be, so I will be here n minus 2. This is n minus 1. So this will be the n minus 2. So I should be greater than 0, I less than that. So I is greater than 0, yes. So current will be A of I. So current will be 4. Okay. Then is A of I greater than 10? Is -1. What is in your A of I plus 1? Is -1. Is greater than 2? No. So your A of I will contain 10. So your a of I means a of 4 will contain temp, and temp is nothing but 2. Okay. Then you have updated this. Now temp is equals to current. Now temp will be updated with 4. Okay. Now you go to the next iteration. Now you do I minus minus. So 4 will be replaced by 2. Now your I will be here. Okay. So I will be 3. Okay. So when I will be 3, then what happens? Yeah. So current will be A of 5. So current will be 3. Then you will be checking A of 5 plus 1 is greater than temp or not. So A of 5 plus 1 is 4. 4 and 2, which is greater? 4 is greater. So A of 5 will contain 4. A of 5 means A of 3 will contain 4. Means it will contain 4. Again, you will be replacing temp with the current. So temp will become 3. Okay. So this is what I have done is called as dry run of a program. So dry run of a program is used to do the debugging for issue. Okay, whether your code is working correctly or not, and it is very very important in interview to do that. Until otherwise, you won't be able to find what is the mistake you are doing because you are not able to run your code into any of the compiler. Good. Is it clear what I meant by dry run of a program? Okay, are we good with everything? Justin, Jyoti, Niharika, Sakshi, Sudhir, Saket, Vishal, Vrinda, Vishnu. Okay. Now, okay. So dry run is line by line execution of your written code. How your compiler will do it, that you have to do. That is called as the dry run of the program. Okay, and you have the practice to do it by yourself. Okay. Sometimes you write a code, you should be able to find a mistake what you have done in your code. Okay. Now, this is much for this problem. The same problem can be asked. So this is what is the problem statement? Given an array, replace the each element by the greater element on the right hand side. Okay. The same problem can be asked for the left hand side also. Greater element on left hand side. Everything will be same. The only thing is you have to replace the current element with the element on the right hand side like this. Left hand side. Sorry. And so this you can say this is a uh, variance of this problem what we have discussed. Okay, and this is the assignment for you, homework for you to practice this. Coming to the next workshop. So in next workshop we will be solving using we'll be solving a problem using both this approaches. Okay, we can go through this. Okay. And you can tell me how you can approach this. What changes will you make in the last problem, in the last solution that this will work?